Yo, what's going on, guys? It is FoxyDude98 here, and welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. Today we are here for the British Grand Prix, and it's hopefully going to be a great race. We're here for the home Grand Prix, obviously, a home Grand Prix for both Hamilton and myself, so we're both going to be looking for strong performances. But anyway, as we head in towards the British Grand Prix, you can see we're just going for everything and having a look at where we are. Overall, in terms of the research and development, we're doing a great job with that, and we're making sure that we continue to develop the car and make sure it is the best as possible, as my full intentions for this career mode is to make Mercedes as strong as possible and then head to a different team and try and challenge them. That's my aim, basically. But anyway, as you can see, we're trying to make a few more upgrades to the car, and we went ahead and obviously had a look at the chassis there, which is going to be coming for the next race at the German Grand Prix. And then obviously you can see I'm just going through everything now. I've got 1,800 resource points. I've actually got a lot of resource points stacked up, but I'm just sort of deciding what I want to do with it. And overall, I decided to go ahead and do a second upgrade on the durability front to the ICE, as that is the element of the power unit which is struggling the most. Moving on then into qualifying, you can see as soon as we start qualifying, I didn't change anything, but now I've got a 10-place grip penalty for a component change. I don't know what component change that can possibly be, because I haven't changed any components whatsoever heading into this race. We qualify in P5 for the British Grand Prix in Q1, and it's clear. It says it there. I have a 10-place grid penalty, and I tried to look, and it's true, and I don't know why I got one. And that wasn't the least of my problems. The least of my problems was the fact that my pace around Silverstone was absolutely dreadful. I was nowhere near the pace of these AIs. I haven't changed the AIs. They're still on 106, which is what they were in Austria. For pretty much most of the season, of course, that has been changing ever so slightly. But in Q2, I tried to qualify on the medium tyres because I was starting so far back. I thought, let's go on the mediums and try and do something. Yeah, that didn't work out. I qualified all the way down in P14. That just shows straight away there, I literally had nothing to offer in terms of the pace. I was 4/10 down from getting into Q3, so if I qualified on soft tyres, I would have made it into Q3, because I was obviously much faster on soft tyres. But still, overall, despite doing that, it made absolutely no difference whatsoever, because of course the pit stops around Silverstone are so long. It's the longest on the calendar. You really don't want to be stuck in the pits for ages and doing multiple stops. So I tried to do something different, and yeah, that was terrible. And after seeing that, I'm kind of worried for this race. But without further ado, let's get into the race for the British Grand Prix.
We're right back where it all began. The very first World Championship Grand Prix was held here at Silverstone in 1950, with Giuseppe Farina taking the top step of an all-Alfa Romeo podium. He earned 9 championship points that day on his way to the inaugural title. His winning total at the season's end, just 30 points. My, how times have changed. So let's see who can reach the top step of the modern podium today. Straddling the border of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire, the 18 corners of the Silverstone circuit form the 3.6-mile beating heart of Formula One. It's been reinvented over the years, with Turn 1 now the fast right-hander of Abbey, along with 2 DRS zones on the Wellington and Hanger Straights respectively. But the magic of racing is as strong here as it's ever been. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Kimi Raikkonen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, and Magnussen, Hamilton, Hülkenberg, Alonso, and Sergio Perez, Van Dorn, Ocon, Romain Grosjean, and Gasly, Leclerc, Hartley, Lance Stroll, and Sergei Sorokin, Ericsson, and Thomas. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay, so we're now heading towards the grid here for the British Grand Prix, and considering I got a 10-place grid penalty and started P14, obviously that means that I'm going to be starting last. But overall, my gamble to qualify on the mediums in Q2 was a waste of time, because it's going to be a one-stop anyway in this race. But anyway, we've got 5 red lights here for this British Grand Prix, and it's lights out. Where we go here to start the British Grand Prix. Pretty bad getaway from us initially. You can see the rest of the field getting a much better start than us this time, but we're going to get a nice clean run in towards the first corner here. And as you can see, we sort of switched through on Marcus Ericsson, but we couldn't quite make it stick because I was worried about where Sergei Sorokin was going to go, but eventually I found plenty of spaces down the inside here to make my move, and eventually we get past a bunch of cars here. Now we're trying to get past Romain Grosjean, and that's P13 in the Grand Prix. So once again, the air is just really slow when it comes to breaking the corner when they're in the big pack. So I took advantage of that, and we move onwards now, and we head down towards Brooklands now. And we're trying to have a look here at Stoffel Van Dorn, but annoyingly, he is alongside Esteban Ocon, so I'm sort of just having to wait a little bit behind. I've got to wait for their scrap to finish before I can really enter. I tried to do a little bit of a switchback line there, but that really didn't work out for me. In fact, it was a horrible decision to even attempt that. That was not what I wanted to do, but eventually, we caught right back up to Van Dorn and Ocon, and now as we come down towards the hanging straight here, we're now on the back of these two drivers. Now we're going to move over towards the inside line here for Stowe Corner. It's going to go into a 3-wide scenario, but eventually, we managed to get past Van Dorn and Esteban Ocon. Stoffel Van Dorn was passed by Ocon, and then eventually I just came on through. So our Mercedes power units proving to be much stronger than the Renault power units. So as you can see then, Vettel leads the way as he sets the fastest lap for 134.1. And now we're coming involved here. You can see Perez has got past Alonso, but that's actually put Alonso off balance slightly there. We're going to lift off a little bit in towards 2-1, but we make the move stick. All four wheels still on the track. Lovely overtake. We've got a yellow flag behind though, and there's a virtual safety car that's been deployed. So something's happened in the background whilst we were getting involved in all of that drama there. And we're going to have a look at another replay of this now. So Alonso here is powering through in towards turn 1. You can see we make a lovely overtake there. No contact is made between the two of us, and he's actually gone ahead and hit one of the Force Indias whilst coming back on the track again. So it was Ocon that was involved and was just a passenger. Down the inside we go. Fantastic move. And then Alonso comes straight back onto the track, and Ocon wasn't really aware of Fernando Alonso there, which is quite silly. But after the virtual safety car ended, you can see that there's a great scrap now going on at the front as Kimi Raikkonen here opens up the DRS and goes around the outside and towards Stowe Corner on Sebastian Vettel, and he does make this one stick on his Ferrari teammate there, and he is up into the lead of the British Grand Prix. So it's a Ferrari 1-2 at the moment, which is exactly what is not needed. We kind of want the Mercedes cars to do well, and Hamilton is a little bit out of position himself, but luckily he is now starting to make some progress here as he has a look on Verstappen, but he just doesn't quite find anywhere to go to make that one stick. But the Ferraris, on the other hand, they're still having some fun at the front here, and in towards the Vale chicane now. Vettel trying to go around the inside of Kimi Raikkonen here. Raikkonen will try and hold this one around the outside here, but Vettel will get the inside line into Club Corner, and now he makes it stick. And as you can see here, it is now a 3-way scenario between Ricciardo, Verstappen, and also Kimi Raikkonen. Ricciardo holds on in there. He's going to go around the outside here, and now in towards the right-hander. Will he make this one stick? He's going to have to shove Kimi Raikkonen wide, but he gives him lots and lots of space here, and Ricciardo's still trying to hang it around the outside. Raikkonen under some serious pressure now in this Grand Prix, and Ricciardo's still blasting it through. They're both going to have DRS, and this is going to be a straight drag race, and obviously the Ferrari with a better power unit is going to go ahead and win that drag race. So there you can see Raikkonen making it through, and he holds off against Daniel Ricciardo, and Hamilton makes his way past Max Verstappen in the process of all of that. So Hamilton making some great moves as well, and he's now up into P4 in this race. And now Raikkonen once again is under pressure from Daniel Ricciardo. He's not got DRS on Vettel this time, so this is going to be hard for him to defend. And in towards Stowe Corner, Ricciardo goes down the inside, and he makes the move stick on Kimi Raikkonen. Raikkonen's still alongside him though, so in towards the Vale chicane, it's still going to be a side-by-side fight between these two. And as you can see now, they come through, and Ricciardo still has to really work this one, but it's going to be the same thing as what Vettel did to Raikkonen. It's going to put him out of shape, and now in towards the first corner, Hamilton's going to go down the inside here on Kimi Raikkonen, and he's going to lose even more places now. Ricciardo makes it through, Hamilton swoops around the outside, and that's him up into 3rd place now. Raikkonen drops to 4th, and now he locks up a little bit there, and now heading up towards Stowe Corner now. Hamilton gets a fabulous run here, Ricciardo, and through they go. Lovely bit of overtaking there from Lewis Hamilton as they make their way through Copse Corner, and we speed up the little bit of the process there. And now as we go a little bit further on, after we speed up the cameras there, you can see that now Raikkonen is trying to find his way back on Daniel Ricciardo, and Ricciardo now tries to fight his way back on Hamilton as well here. So Ricciardo goes down the inside here on Hamilton into Stowe Corner, but Hamilton's got better straight line speed, and in towards the chicane here, it's actually a really bad run for Ricciardo going through there, and now he's locked up, and Raikkonen's locked up, but he's going to get the same treatment once again, Raikkonen, backs out at the exit, and that's going to put Verstappen on his tail, but Raikkonen's got DRS, so it's not going to be as difficult for him. Again, lap later now, Hamilton can't quite pull away from Ricciardo because of the DRS attack, and Ricciardo is just going to absolutely breeze past Hamilton here. Slipstream, DRS, probably a bit of extra ERS deployment as well, and that's him up into second place, and Vettel, meanwhile, is just happily pulling off into the distance right now, so it's not helping any of these drivers that they're just getting held up right now, constantly fighting each other. But eventually, with some DRS now this time around on the Wellington Straight, Hamilton goes through and absolutely breezes past the Red Bull of Ricciardo. I believe Verstappen is actually now pitted, and Hamilton there just closes the door, and he's now back up into second place, and he can carry on with his race, hunt down Vettel, and try and go for the win. On to lap 10 of the Grand Prix now, and for us, it's been a very, very awful first stint in this race. We've not closed up to Sergio Perez. Of course, the virtual safety car came out, and we were right behind Sergio Perez, if you remember. Now, as you saw then, that's how far back we were from Perez. I couldn't actually physically catch him up. I was that slow. I just had zero pace whatsoever. And I didn't really have a response for it. So now I'm going to have to try and do something about it. And I lose more time in the pit stops when I get held up by Van Dorn. So, thanks for that, Stoffel Van Dorn. I much appreciate you holding me up. It's not as if I'm slow enough. But we're on the medium tyres now. And we're just going to have to try and see what we can do on these tyres. Hopefully now that we've burnt off a lot of the fuel and we're on some fresh tyres, we'll be able to be a little bit more competitive. But who knows, to be honest. I'm not really sure where my pace lies in this race. So we're just going to have to give it everything we've got and just try and score some points. Just damage limitation in this Grand Prix. We didn't have the pace anyway, but at least we can try and get ourselves in a position where we can expect to be. On to lap 13 of the Grand Prix now, and Kevin Magnussen is having a fight with Nico Hülkenberg up front, and I've started to close this pack down. Already on the medium compound tyres, I felt a bit more pace in the car. I felt a bit competitive for once. And as you can see, we're going to go down the inside here in towards the Vale chicane. A very late braking manoeuvre, but we still stay on track, and we're in front of both Magnussen and Hülkenberg, who pitted for hard tyres, strangely enough, the blue striped hard tyres, but we decided not to go that route and went on to the mediums. But as you can see, we're now up into 8th place in this Grand Prix. Lap 17 of the Grand Prix, and now we've caught up to Sergio Perez. We're finally getting some pace now in this Grand Prix. It's feeling good at the moment. The car is working quite nicely. And as you can see, we open up the DRS overtake modes, rich mixture enabled, DRS as well. We need it all to get past Sergio Perez here. In towards Stowe corner now. Move over to the inside line. And it's a comfortable move down the inside on Sergio Perez. Up into 7th or 6th place now in this Grand Prix. It's P7 in this race now. Next up is Carlos Sainz, the Renault car up front. So now we've got to try and see if we can push up onto the back of him. But unfortunately for myself, I was under a little bit of pressure. I needed to now try and get out of DRS range of Sergio Perez. And since there's two really long DRS straights, it wasn't that simple, and Perez does come and try and fight back, but we eventually go down the inside of Sergio Perez, and that was the only time we ever got attacked by Perez. After that, he actually came in for another stop, which was a bit strange, because he did pit at the same time with myself, but I tried to close as hard as I could now to the back of Carlos Sainz in the Renault, but unfortunately for myself, I pushed it too hard, and I basically overdid the tyres, and I didn't have any fuel or ERS deployments left, so I basically gave it everything to try and catch Sainz, but I basically just pushed too much in the middle stint. But overall, it's going to be P7 in this Grand Prix, and yeah, it was a rubbish race for myself, to be honest. I mean, at the end of the day, I still scored some points, but Lewis Hamilton won the Grand Prix, which means that our championship lead is going to come down quite heavily. But Hamilton wins his home Grand Prix here at Silverstone. Annoyingly, I couldn't get anywhere near today. I mean, from starting last on the grid and finishing P7 with a car that I just wasn't happy with at all. I mean, I'm not too upset about that, especially the first stint. When I was driving with the soft tyres, I just had literally no pace at all. You might as well have put me in a Williams car and I'd actually be faster. But as soon as we switched on to the medium tyres, the car just worked then. We managed to close up to all the drivers that we couldn't close up in the first stint, and we had a lot more respected pace compared to the AIs. So, yeah, there was definitely some performance late on in the Grand Prix, but overall, I just made too many mistakes. And the component change really didn't help. Maybe if I didn't have a component change and I qualified everything correctly and out-qualified myself, maybe I could have been able to just have a good fight with the Ferraris and the Red Bulls and try and do the defensive play. But that happens sometimes. We couldn't do it, and that's where we are. So we finished 28 seconds off, and you can see my fastest lap was 1:31.1. and the best lap from the AIs was a 1:29, I think it was. Where is it? 29.5? Yeah, 29.5 from Raikkonen. So we were a long way off, but the gap's dropped down to 31 points now in the Drivers' Championship between myself and Lewis Hamilton after he picks up the win today, and we struggle in this Grand Prix. In the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes still have a comfortable advantage over Ferrari, and that is all good for us there. Moving on then into the interview with Claire now, and it's time for the race debrief overall. So the first question, obviously, she's asking if we struggled with the traffic. I never really struggled with the traffic. I just didn't have as much grip. So I just sort of said, you know, I had that much more grip in the latter stages of the race. But I couldn't really say that, to be honest. And then she's asking about why was it not a clean race. I decided to go with the no comment feature. And you can see, as she only asked 2 questions from myself, she wasn't really happy with that. And she was sort of like, why did you not answer? I'll tell you why I didn't answer, because I didn't want to. But that's going to be it then for the British Grand Prix. Bit of a wake-up call for us then, that the pace is not going to be there at all the circuits. It was there, for example, in Austria, but it wasn't there in Silverstone. So we move on. Next up to the German Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed today's video, feel free to drop it a like, subscribe if you're new around here as well, and I will see you guys for the German Grand Prix next time. Take care all.